Hello, welcome to Taffy Crafting. This is the first of a series of videos showing you some of the punches that Stampin' Up sell, and I want to show you just what you can do with some of those punches. They're incredibly versatile, really easy to use, very quick and accurate as well, getting perfect circles each time. So I have produced this card, an incredibly simple card. I'm going to show you some of the DSP that we have at the moment. This is one of the brand new stamp sets that came out with annual catalogue. And then I'm also going to show another sentiment on another stamp set to put that on there as well. Super simple. And I just want to show you as well that paper crafting isn't always about producing really complicated 3D projects or really intricate cards. Sometimes simplicity is just as effective as something that's quite complicated. So this is what I'm going to show you how to make using these circle punches. So the ones that I've got are the 2" and the 2 1/4 inch. So I've used the 2 1/4 inch on the DSP at the back of this, and then a 2" with the stamped image on it. So let me show you what we're going to need to do that. So the first thing we're going to need is a card base. So I'm a bit lazy when it comes to cards because sometimes I'm not particularly accurate and I make mistakes, and I like to buy these pre-cut, pre-scored cards, and that's purely because I'm lazy and can't be bothered. You could just get a bundle of Whisper White cardstock, and to make an A5 card you would need a piece of white card that measures 7 inches across and 10 inches down, and then score it in the middle at 5 inches, and then you've got a 5x7 card, which is a nice size card. The other reason as well why I buy them pre-cut and pre-folded is that the envelopes come with them as well. Pure laziness on my part. What I like to focus on is actually the construction of the card. Now what I'm going to use is from the Garden Impressions DSP. This is what is in that DSP bundle. Lots and lots of beautiful pretty patterns, colours, very floral, and the back of those just so colourful, really versatile. You can do anything with those. They match up with lots of different colours, and you can make some really beautiful, bright, pretty cards or boxes. I've made some gift boxes with these as well. You might see those on earlier videos. So I've picked out this one. As you see, I've already been using it. So this is probably, might be white on the back, might be very vanilla, but with this colour here, and I have the coordinating ink pad, these match perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And that's the great thing about Stampin' Up products, is that they'll bring out a DSP, they'll have some cardstock that matches it, and they normally come in a cardstock pack. I haven't got mine to hand, I don't think. I might have here actually, but I've used all of the, yeah, I think this is the Garden Impressions one. Yes, it is. So there's 8 sheets of each colour. So there's 24 sheets in total. And I think with this one came the Night of Navy, I believe, and I've used all of that because it's like my favourite colour. So I'm not going to use cardstock with this project. I just want a really simple project where we are just using 1 sheet of DSP. This comes in 6x6, the white, and then this as well. And then the stamp set that I'm using, and I've already got my stamps out ready, is in Every Season. And this is just some flower images, and there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 images, and they're all really pretty, and they all stamp out. I hope you can see that. Absolutely beautifully. They're really intricate. You could alternatively stamp them in black and colour them in yourself. So you could put some green in there and some different colours. You could do that maybe using the watercolour pencils and using the blender pens as well. So I'm going to be using the In Every Season stamp set. And the first thing I'm going to do is get my DSP, and I'm going to punch out 3 2¼ inch circles, and I'll show you how easy this is. You just slip the paper in there, make sure that you haven't got any gaps like this or like that, put that in there, grip it slightly, and then with 2 hands, depending how strong you are, these are quite heavy, just stamp that out like that. And then another one, I'm going to need another sheet of DSP by the look of it, one of those. And then let me just quickly find, what did I do with it over here? Got another one there. And I'm just going to punch another one of those out. 3 perfect circles. And I'm going to put those on there like that. So then the next thing I do is I get some white cardstock. Let's put that to one side. I get my ink ready. I've got my stamps here and I've got my block. I'm going to put my first stamp on there. Get my card. Now what we're going to do, we're going to stamp first, then punch. That way you know that you're going to get it in the middle. So my stamp is on there and I'm going to just load it with ink, and then not too close to the edge, otherwise it's then very difficult to get this central in the punch, or central in the circle. And there we go. So intricate, can you see that? Really, really pretty. Right, let's just give that a clean off while I get the other one. There's my other stamp. Load that up with ink. I'm just going to put that next to it. Again, not too close to the edge and not too close to the other image. Just clean that off again. And then finally, and we'll put that there like that. So 3 very pretty flower designs. I'm going to move the ink and put that away. As soon as the ink's out, you can bet your life I'm going to put my hand or my elbow or something in it. So there are 3 stamped images. So I'm going to get my 2-inch punch, slip the paper in there like that, be absolutely sure that it's central, and punch that out with the next one, and with that last one, punch that out. Now what I like to do next, so what we're going to do is we're going to put that on there like that. I like to actually put a bit of a border around, just colour in the edge of this white circle. It just, if you can see it on here, I don't know if you can see it on there, I'll show you how to do that in a second. That's not, it just kind of breaks it up, it makes it less harsh, it definitely looks better. And I've got a sponge dauber. Let's get my ink back out again. Oops. And with the dauber, just put a little bit of ink on there. And then with that circle, just on the very, very edge. And all I'm doing is just pushing it down like that, right on the edge. It gives it a bit of a distressed look, I think. So we just do that on all of these. finally this one. And then what we can do once we've done this is then start putting the card together. Now, as I said, I've kept things really simple. There's no layering with different coloured cardstocks. It literally is just getting some circles, stamping on them, and then putting them on a card. Once you start doing all matting and layering, that's when it starts to become complicated, time consuming, and it's great because they do look nice like that. But if you just want to, maybe you don't have a whole load of cardstock or a whole load of DSP, or if you're just starting out with your paper crafting hobby, you don't have a whole load of equipment either. So if you're just starting out and you're thinking, well, what can I buy? You may decide that buy some card, cut them and score them so that you've got some ready to use card bases, and look what you can come up with 2 of these. And maybe you might not even want to have 2 of them, you might just want to use one and just put some circles on. But sometimes you don't need a whole load of ingredients to make something really quite simple yet effective. So the next thing I'm going to do is stick these onto here, and I'm going to do that using some mini dimensionals which I've put down somewhere. As usual, whenever I go to do a video, I then can't find what I'm looking for, so I'm just going to find my spares in here. You'll just bear with me a second. There they are. Right, so these dimensionals, these are little hexagons, so these are the mini ones, but you can also buy bigger ones as well. So these are the mini dimensionals, and what they do, because they're raised, they're on little foam pads, and they are sticky on both sides, is that it just raises, it gives it dimension. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. So what I'm going to do here, turn these over, and I use tweezers for this because sometimes I just can't get them off. So I'm just going to put a dimensional on each of those, just one either side. When I first made this card, I was using 4 of these dimensionals on each disc, and then another 4 on there to put on the card. And I try and be really frugal with purchases so that they just last longer, and so that the cost of each card that you make is much less. I know it's quite marginal with these, but you don't want to run out. So there's my disc, my circle rather, got a dimensional on each side there, and then place that as centrally as you can. Just a little press because you don't want to squash those. And there, if you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but you've just got that space there, and it just gives the card some height. It gives it some dimension, gives it some interest. Also makes it look a lot more expensive as well. So if you're giving out cards and you want to impress people with your new card making skills, then getting a bit of dimension and a bit of texture on there makes them look a lot more clever. People will be really impressed. Okay, so it's just this last one. My house is absolutely full of these. It doesn't matter how many times I put the hoover around the house. These are all over the place. Oops, right. So I'm just going to put that one on there. That could have been a bit better. So there we've got 3 discs there, and then on the back of these I'm then going to put 2 more of those. Now what I'm going to do is leave links to all of the products that I've used in this tutorial. I will also leave a link to my blog, which also then has the links to the products, and I shall also leave a link to my Facebook page as well. I need my ruler. There it is on the floor. So I want to make sure that I get these straight. So I'm just going to line that up on my grid paper and then line that up like that. And then I'm going to decide where I'm going to put them. So I want enough room to put a sentiment here. So just have a look and see roughly where they are, so that they're evenly spaced. I'm happy with that. And the first thing I'm not going to move these. I'm going to take this one, take the backing off of these dimensionals. And not moving that, just place that in the middle. You could, if you wanted to, put marks on the card, entirely up to you. You know, sometimes when I've got something quite intricate like this and I think, oh, it's okay, I'll just eyeball it, and it doesn't work, it's best to be absolutely sure. So if you want to put some pencil marks on there, you know, that's entirely up to you. As long as you can't see them when you've finished your project, it doesn't matter. Just need to make sure that the edge of that circle doesn't go over the edge of the card, which it doesn't. I'm not squashing this down either, so I don't want to lose that height. I just want to make sure that those dimensionals have stuck and that's not going anywhere. And then we'll do this last one, and then we'll put our sentiment on there and we will be done. I don't know what way up I want that. That way, I think. And there we go. So they're on like that. So now what I want to do is just put a sentiment on here. So I've decided to go for the perennial birthday stamp set. And I think I'm going to use this big happy birthday sign and put that along the bottom. Or I could use that. Or I could use that. I don't know. Or this says, "Today blooms just for you." I can never decide. I hadn't really thought about this before I put the card, actually, what I was going to put on there. I think... oh, I don't know. Let's use that one. Get a block and put that on there. I'm going to get that straight. I hope that's straight. Back to my ink. You might want to mix it up and use a different colour ink. Absolutely up to you. Again, I'm just trying to keep this simple. You know, it could be that you've... oh, and that's not stuck to there. I might have to use another. Otherwise I'm going to get covered in ink. Bear with me a second while I just find another one that's actually going to stick to the block. Okay, so I've chosen another stamp. I've actually chosen that one to put along the bottom. So I'm just going to load that up with ink. I've got the wrong size block on it. I can't find my other block. So what I'm going to do is just use this one. I've improvised a bit. And put that on there like that. Small wiggle. And there we go. Probably not my first choice of a stamp, but I had to put something on there that I could put my hands on quite quickly. So that's actually from the Perennial Birthday stamp set. And there we have a really, really simple card. Oops, I'll try and get that in shot. A really simple card using the 2 inch and the 2 1/4 inch circle punches, Garden Impressions DSP. We've used the flowers stamp set in every season, and the Perennial Birthday, and the lovely lipstick stamp set. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. All of the links will be left in the description bar below. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye bye.